So I would like to welcome you to, at least according to Translate, Death Knight. This is a player that popped up in my comments as well, and as always, I appreciate it as possible. This is actually I wouldn't say long-running account, but there's a lot of stuff that he's unlocked on it, and at least based on this, in the last, he's a 70% win rate, he's 88% in the top win rate, and he has over 5,000 kills. He does all the normal things that makes it more obvious. Actually, I just realized I forgot to show his actual record, just the front of it. Yeah, it's, to me, based on obviously how many battles he has, because he has nothing and everywhere else, I would bet money this account's been cheating since day one. So we got premium, 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 squadron vehicle, premium, premium, oh yeah, premium, oh I know, premium, oh yeah, premium, let's see, nope, 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 premium, I guess I'll just start by rank. But yeah, he has top tier, so he plays top tier. Plays a lot of top tier according to this, and he just, has like every premium you would ever need on an account this expensive, and is now deciding, or is full on cheating for a long period of time. I've checked back. Granted, I can only check back about 2 to 3 weeks on replays, depending on how much access I have. And every single replay I look at is like him cheating. This is a replay back from the 30th of July. The farthest replay I have access to right now is like the 26th or 24th of July, because it only usually saves like 2 to 3 weeks at max with the way their servers work. And it's like every single replay is like this, where he's staring at people directly through terrain, scouting people he literally cannot see, and swapping from target to target to target to target to target over and over and over, because that's just what he can do with his software. And I just find it incredibly ironic that these guys are just going farther and farther with this stuff, and Gaijin is not doing the one simple thing and just deleting a lot of the bot accounts that don't deserve to be created. The good thing is he dies from this guy, but it's also, you notice he swapped to his HEVT and started shooting at a range without having visual line of sight to that guy, as well as the fact that he didn't, I forget the name of the terminology, but he didn't get the air target for it. But he starts shooting at the, immediately starts shooting at him, even though he had no frame of reference of him there either. So it's turning into this whole sort of slap fight between Gaijin, where obviously Gaijin wants to still make money. Now he's, of course, spots this guy from 5.5 kilometers that you literally cannot see. And you're now going to see a lot of these things where Gaijin is probably pretty torn between wanting to make a crap ton of money from all the cheaters, as well as the fact that as well as the fact that they, want to be viable in a gaming community. Now, the only way they would be very viable in a gaming community is if they had actual support that cared, not most of their moderators who just don't listen, most of what feels like the developers who shrug you off when you have any sort of suggestions or viable security recommendations. I mean, the crazy thing for me is I don't even think I'd want to, from based on what I've seen, granted I don't think I will ever get, I really don't at this point want any sort of content creator aspect, because based on all the content creators I've talked to, the amount of support they give for Gaijin is like nil. Now, if you know anything about, like, say, World of Warships content creators were essentially abused. It's the reason why a lot of them quit at one point, and they essentially stole content from the content creators who were making stuff for them. They stole ideas. They stole all this, like, balancing at checks. They basically just milked their content creators dry of original ideas. Whereas Gaijin, in this case, based on what I've seen, they don't listen to the content creators, like, at all. And it's to the point where people can actually have good criticisms in this game and stuff that makes sense. So, for a great example, one of the comments I've seen recently that I think actually makes sense is to have a matchmake spread difference of 0.7 in ground forces only. Because Gaijin right now is making it to where Air Forces is going up to like 13-0, it feels like at this point, and yet we're still stuck at 12 or 11-7 in ground forces, and it's becoming an absolute nightmare when it comes to just dealing with stupid compression. The worst example I can give is of the, what's it called? So 7-7 right now, America, which granted is a pretty strong heavy lineup, but has no way, shape, or form any real reason to face T55 AM1s or T55s or T62s or any of this nonsense. And yet, Gaijin still thinks it's fine to leave 7-7 to be able to face 8-7. I mean, the mouse can face T55s. Now, granted, Gaijin, I don't know a lot of people know this, Gaijin admitted years ago, before they removed the mouse, technically removed the mouse, that they admitted they could not balance the mouse, which is actually one of the reasons why it was removed from the game. People assume it was because of historical accuracy. No, it was actually because Gaijin fully admitted in one of their posts, like 3 or 4 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago, that they could not actually balance. They couldn't balance it because of where it sits. 7-7 is the most viable place where it sits, and yet they keep adding Cold War and Modern War MBTs around the same BR, 7-7, 8-7. And what's crazy is if you look at this, is that we have T55s at, T54s at like 7-7 that are the same BR as a 90 mil for America that should have more pen than it does, but Gaijin's calculator says no. And putting a small gap just from like 6-7 to like 9-7 would fix so many issues with vehicles facing crap they really can't do much against, and it would fix a lot of the matchmaker. The problem is Gaijin literally has been getting this suggested to them for years just to even test it, because we obviously do that. We do that for them. We basically beta test their game when they release new patches, and they don't do much else for us in the long run. And yet they refuse to implement it just out of a test. They could do it on a test server. They could test it on one BR rank just to see what it does, and yet they won't do it. And it's really frustrating that Gaijin has all these great ideas. They have a great idea for a company. They do all these great things. There's actually valid reasons for them to do certain things, and they will not do it. And it's really saddening to me that Gaijin is blatantly just ignoring things that would make the game ultimately better. Now, granted, it's a free-to-play game. Free-to-play games kind of strive on frustration, which is what every free-to-play game strives on. And yet we are still not getting something as simple as, I don't know, BR spread reduction for ground forces, which we really do need for ground forces. And I don't think that they're really going to get away from the fact that listening to your community, except when it's like random nonsense that doesn't need to be added, like, good God, if the game would, at top tier, I would play top tier if the Panzer hadn't been added and then they added the Tor instead, because the Tor would have been a better option to add instead of just giving it to China. But no, we have the Panzer now, which effectively ruins top tier. And I still don't know how the Panzer is only 11.7, whereas all we have is the ADATs for America. So I'm going to leave this here because the ranting on this is stupid, because Gaijin is not going to do anything regardless of it, even if I give suggestions that make the most sense and that make most logical sense, even for their profits, which would work. And yet we still don't see it. So I'll leave this here. As always, if you're a player in question, you'll leave to me player ID and replay in question and a description of what you saw. And as always, I hope you have a good rest of your morning, day, evening, or night. And have a good one.